Welcome to VMblog's coverage of KubeCon Europe 2025. I'm Brian Ducharme, and I'm joined by David Marshall and Aliaksandr Valialkin, who is the founder and CTO of VictoriaMetrics. I hope I didn't butcher your name too bad.
Thanks for inviting for this interview. I hope that it will be great.
Well, maybe you can kind of kick things off by introducing your company and kind of giving us a quick overview of what your offerings are in metrics and logs.
I am a founder of VictoriaMetrics company, and this company provides an open source observability solutions. We started with metrics solution for metrics, which is named VictoriaMetrics after the company name. And this open source solution for metrics is compatible mostly with Prometheus. It can be used as drop-in replacement for Prometheus, another open source observability solution for metrics. And it is optimized version of Prometheus, I would say, because it needs less compute resources, less memory, less CPU, less disk space than Prometheus. That's why users who struggle with Prometheus scalability usually become users of VictoriaMetrics, and they are happy with VictoriaMetrics. A few years ago, our users were asking us for starting work on a solution for logs, because the existing solutions for logs in open source are not so good, and that's why we started working on the solution for logs. And this solution is already production ready. It is named VictoriaLogs, and it is available for general available, and it is better than existing open source solutions such as Elasticsearch or Loki in many ways. If you want, I can provide details why this VictoriaLogs is better than Elasticsearch and Loki. Is this interesting? Okay, the main selling point of VictoriaLogs is it is much easier to configure and operate compared to Elasticsearch and Loki. It is a single binary which runs with default configuration. This means that it is basically a zero config application, and it runs good on any hardware, starting from Raspberry Pi and ending with some large-scale computers with hundreds of CPU cores and terabytes of memory, and it automatically scales to the available resources. Its performance scales, its capacity scales to the available resources. That's the main selling point, and there are other selling points, such as that it uses less compute resources compared to Elasticsearch or Loki. It uses up to 30 times less memory, for example, compared to Elasticsearch, and it also uses 10-15 times less disk space for real production logs on our tests and tests from our users. And another selling point of VictoriaLogs is that it provides, I would say, a much better query language which is optimized for querying logs compared to Elasticsearch query language or Loki query language. This query language allows you performing fast full text search over logs. You can quickly find logs which contain some specific strings, and then after that you can perform various calculations, transformations of this selected logs. You can extract additional information from plain text logs, for example, and after that you can perform various statistics calculations at high speed. And recently, I added VictoriaLogs to benchmarks, third-party benchmarks for databases, analytical databases. These benchmarks created by ClickHouse developers. It's another analytical database, and it was unexpected to me that VictoriaLogs performed very good at these benchmarks, despite the fact that this is not analytical database. It was designed for logs at first, and it has been appeared that it works quite good and fast for analytical workloads. And so, for example, it beats in these benchmarks the major databases, including Elasticsearch, MongoDB, Postgres, MySQL, and so on. So that's great news.
Now, we're here today, part of it is talking about, the KubeCon CloudNativeCon event that's coming up. For a KubeCon attendee that might be listening to this video, can you talk about the specific problems that they may be facing that your company solves for them and how that relates to observability and log management?
Yes. VictoriaLogs works very good in Kubernetes. We created Helm chart for VictoriaLogs, and we added VictoriaLogs into our VictoriaMetrics operator, so users can easily install and operate VictoriaLogs in their Kubernetes clusters. And it has been appeared that the configuration and the setup of VictoriaLogs in Kubernetes works very good. It consists basically of two components. The first component is a log shipper, log collector and log shipper, which discovers containers at every Kubernetes node, discovers the locations of logs for these containers, and then collects these logs and forwards them to the centralized VictoriaLogs storage. So this VictoriaLogs basically consists of this component collector, log shipper, and VictoriaLogs storage. And this both components is very easy to configure. There are no complex configurations, and it works perfectly for logs collection, large-scale logs collection in large Kubernetes clusters. And it also provides very good compression ratio for the collected logs. We run for the last 1.5 years, probably more, the internal VictoriaLogs instance, which collects all the logs in our staging Kubernetes clusters. And we see that the compression ratio, the ratio between the uncompressed log size divided by the compressed log size, which are stored on the disk. The compression ratio is around 50. This means that a terabyte of logs is compressed into 20 gigabytes, and it occupies only 20 gigabytes of disk space. That's very good compression ratio, and this shows that VictoriaLogs is capable to collect and process very large amounts of logs in Kubernetes, in very large Kubernetes clusters.
Now, we've talked a lot about the features of VictoriaLogs. Maybe you could kind of walk us through like a real-world user success story that kind of showcases the impact of your technology and what makes it, kind of unique.
I think that since VictoriaLogs is quite young technology, it is used by early adopters, but we have no yet good public case studies from our users for VictoriaLogs capabilities. We can only provide our internal demos from our staging clusters, as I said before. We regularly conduct talks and videos about the capabilities of VictoriaLogs on our quarterly meetups in VictoriaLogs and also at other conferences. And also, I would invite Matthias, our solutions engineer, who could provide you the demo for VictoriaLogs on his home lab. And I think that it could be impressive for you and your viewers, readers.
Now, there's going to be a lot of different vendors on the expo floor at KubeCon. For folks who come by, they visit your booth. What are some of the bullet points of how you differentiate your technology from everyone else in the industry?
We differentiate our technology, both VictoriaMetrics and VictoriaLogs, by the following points. The first point is simplicity of configuration and operation. This is a very important point, which is usually overlooked by our other vendors. And our users are very happy when they try VictoriaMetrics and VictoriaLogs and see how easy to configure them, how easy to manage them and operate them at very large scale. That's the first selling point. And the second selling point is resource efficiency. Our technologies, both VictoriaMetrics and VictoriaLogs, require less computer resources, CPU, memory, disk space, compared to other vendors' solutions. And this also works very great on large scale. And the third, our selling point is that we provide very high quality support, technical support for our customers and our users. And both users and customers regularly say that our technical support is much, much better compared to technical support from other vendors.
Now, kind of sticking with the discussion around your technology, what specific innovations and features will your company be highlighting at KubeCon Europe this time at your booth? And also, is there anything else about your technology that attendees should know about that we haven't already discussed?
Yeah, we at KubeCon we mostly will provide information for VictoriaMetrics, and for VictoriaMetrics we have also open source VictoriaMetrics, and we have also VictoriaMetrics cluster, not cluster, VictoriaMetrics Cloud, which is not covered yet. That's a cloud solution, that's database as a service, which provides the access to VictoriaMetrics for our users in a cloud. We manage this VictoriaMetrics instances by ourselves, and users just can store data into this VictoriaMetrics instances and query this VictoriaMetrics instances. And we are going to add VictoriaLogs into cloud this year. So users could use both metrics and logs solutions in cloud. Also, we didn't cover yet the anomaly detection solution for VictoriaMetrics and VictoriaLogs, and we will highlight both this anomaly detection solutions at KubeCon. And also we will cover VictoriaLogs capabilities, which I mentioned before. The capabilities is that it is very efficient compared to existing solutions, and it works much better and easy to configure compared to existing solutions. And last point is that it has good integrations with existing solutions. This means that it supports data ingestion, popular data ingestion protocols for logs from different log shippers. This means that you can easily switch from existing solution to VictoriaLogs by switching the destination URL or destination host name where this solution log shipper should send logs to. And also, we will cover the ability to use Grafana for querying, for building dashboards for VictoriaMetrics and VictoriaLogs. Recently, we published our own plugins for Grafana, data sources for VictoriaMetrics and VictoriaLogs, and I would say, improve user experience compared to the previous state when users had to use data source for Prometheus for querying VictoriaMetrics, and our own plugins for VictoriaMetrics and VictoriaLogs provide better capabilities for end users in Grafana. And I believe that Matthias should show this demo with Grafana probably in this interview later.
Now, things in the world of IT are constantly changing and usually at a pretty rapid pace. I know one of the big things lately has been around artificial intelligence. What are some of the key trends that you're seeing take shape in 2025 and beyond, and how is it affecting or aligning with your roadmap, with the product development that you guys have?
We keep eye on AI technologies, how they evolve over time. And I think that the trend which I see in the context of observability this year is that different vendors try using AI for troubleshooting in observability space. This means if some anomaly happens, some incident happens, then these observability vendors try to provide AI, to provide the help from AI with incident debugging, incident resolution. You just ask questions like what happens in my system. You can please look at the collected data, collected metrics, logs and traces and so on, and please say what happens and how to fix it. And I should provide insights in your system and provide solutions how to fix it quickly. And this, I know that it works, actually, despite that skepticism, it works. And I think that this will be a main trend in this year for AI in observability space. So AI will be able to help with this incident resolution, with anomaly detection. And we at VictoriaMetrics, we also try using AI at anomaly detection solution. Probably we will integrate a solution which I described before in VM anomaly product in VictoriaMetrics this year. Let's see. And another area where AI can help, and I see that it works good, is the ability to provide good answers to user questions. We maintain a very big set of documentation for VictoriaMetrics products, and this documentation is publicly available. But we see that users sometimes they have issues with finding the answer to their questions, despite that this answer is already covered by our documentation because of Google and other search engines do not provide good insights in search results for the documentation. And I see that AI can help, can improve the quality of answers to users' questions in this case. And it really works. The only problem is that it sometimes provides not so good answers. It hallucinate answers, but this mostly shows that points to the lack of good documentation, because if there is no documentation for the particular answer, in this case, in the knowledge base of AI, then in this case it usually just provides some nonsense answer. And we, in this case, our duty is to provide good answer to this question, so later AI could provide better answer to users.
What message would you like for attendees that come to your booth to take away after visiting and be able to bring back to their company?
I think that the most important thing is to convince users, visitors of our booth, who do not use yet VictoriaMetrics products, is to try these products, because we constantly say that these VictoriaMetrics products are better than competing products, but the thing is that everybody says that their product is better than competing products, and users do not trust these statements. So, and the best way is to convince users to try our products and see in real on real production cases that our products really work better, and we do not lie when we say that our products is easier to configure and they use less RAM, memory, and CPU compared to other solutions.
Now, speaking of trying your product, you had mentioned earlier in the conversation that Matthias might be available to show us a quick demo of the VictoriaLogs product. Could you maybe introduce Matthias, and then we can hear from him and let him drive things home with a demo?
Yeah, Matthias is our solution engineer. He's very fond of VictoriaMetrics products. Before joining our team, he was working with VictoriaMetrics products, and he was happy user of VictoriaMetrics products. And he builds his own home lab with VictoriaMetrics products, and I think that he should provide our good demo with VictoriaLogs.
So like Alex said, I'm Matthias Palmersheim. I'm a solutions engineer and happy user of VictoriaMetrics. And here I have our public playground pulled up. So the best way to realize the value of VictoriaMetrics is to try it yourself. So we have a playground for VictoriaMetrics, VictoriaLogs, and some examples using Grafana. So here I have VMUI, which comes bundled inside of VictoriaLogs. And if we just run a query for all logs over the last few hours, you see that the query returns very quickly, and we can see the messages here. And if we wanted to drill into this query, what we could do is ask for Kubernetes.container name. Typing's hard today. And then OAuth 2-proxy, and only get the logs from that application. But we see that there's these logs are structured, but they're not in a machine readable format like JSON or log format. But one of the cool things about VictoriaMetrics is we have the ability to pull this log apart. So what you're looking at here in the query field is the extract pipe. So the way VictoriaLogs queries data is it kind of feels like you're using Bash rather than a domain-specific language, and you pipe things from one function to another. So what we're saying here is grab everything from OAuth 2 proxy and then use the extract pipe, which is similar to like Grok or like a regular expression on easy mode. So here we're saying this is what the log looks like, structure it all out. And now if we expand this log line, we get all of that metadata here, and you didn't have to fuss around with collectors. But having to generate these queries every time is kind of tricky. So what most users will do is they'll use a data visualization tool like Grafana. And here we see a dashboard from my Proxmox cluster where we have metrics and logs kind of seamlessly all rolled up into one. So the top panel here, we are using VictoriaMetrics for all the high-level overview information. Then if we scroll down a bit, we can kind of get the tasks that are being generated from the Proxmox cluster into VictoriaLogs as well, and everything's nice and organized into a table. Another nice feature that we have, again, is we can realize later that, oh, hey, we didn't have this pulled apart. How could I do this inside of Grafana so I don't have to give users direct access to VictoriaLogs? So we have our own signed plugins in Grafana. You can just grab them in the marketplace. It takes a couple of minutes to install. And here we can take that same approach of querying everything from the Proxmox backup server and then adding an extract pipe to enrich data. So with that pipe here, we get who did what when, whereas if we didn't have that information here, we would only just get the metadata about the log, so like syslog kind of metadata. And then another nice thing about VictoriaLogs is we support recording rules. So same idea as Prometheus recording rules or VictoriaMetrics recording rules, where you have a really complex query that if you wanted to run over a long period of time, you'd hit some timeout or you would cause the database to run out of resources. But we can take that big query, chunk it up into small pieces, and then boil it down to a recording rule. So on the left, this is what the query would look like, where we're looking for the number of failed logins on a server. And then we can distill that down to a metric on the right. So we can see that a few minutes ago, just before this interview started, that we had some failed login attempts on this database. And we could also view these as well. So VictoriaMetrics has the ability to proxy to VMalert, which allows us to be able to manage all of our alerts as code, but then we could view it in the UI so that way users can validate that their alerting and recording rules are being applied directly. One other thing that Alexander did mention a couple of times is anomaly detection. So this is a dashboard I built from a case study where at a previous job, I was struggling to get SLA information from business owners. And I also struggled with it in my personal life as well. My kids would say like, hey, the internet's being slow, but because they're not very technical, they didn't have a good definition of what slow was or what degraded performance was. So I was able to work with Fred on our anomaly detection team, who helped me through generating an anomaly detection rule, which is like a recording rule powered by machine learning, which is really nice because my data science background is I took stats in high school. So it's very nice that with very minimal effort, I was able to answer the question of what slow internet looks like. So here we can see the anomaly score, which if it goes above 1, that's what we would consider to be anomalous in most cases. And then we compare that with to what the expected values and what we actually had as well. And another nice feature about VM anomaly is that you can pair it with business logic as well. So you can see on the bottom here, we were above the upper bound and below the upper bound a couple of times, but we were able to pair that with a, hey, if it's below this threshold, it's definitely not anomalous. And I only care about things being slow. I usually don't have users that complain about APIs returning responses too fast. And I'm going to turn it back to Alexander for some closing remarks.
Well, thanks, Matthias, for that great demo. We really appreciate it. And obviously, we're telling folks to go visit your booth at KubeCon in Europe. But if somebody's watching and they can't attend KubeCon CloudNativeCon this year, what's the best place for them to go, and what kind of things can they do outside of the trade show to learn more about the things that you talked about today?
The best way is to visit our documentation, our GitHub website, our documentation, and try using VictoriaMetrics products. We try hard to simplify this getting started guide, getting started experience for end users, and I recommend everybody who is curious about observability, who has some issues with existing observability solutions, to try VictoriaMetrics products and VictoriaLogs too, and prove on yourself that everything which we advertise is truth, and it can be proved on your production use case.
Well, great. Well, thanks again for taking time to speak with VMblog, and we wish you guys a very successful event.
Thank you.